As a wolf, I never imagined I'd be the one getting played by a rabbit. Leonard grabbed the collar around my neck. Senior, didn't you want to play? Then why are you running? I woke up to find myself locked inside a cage. There was even a collar around my neck, like I was some kind of dog. And the other end of the chain, it was held by Leonard. The rabbit I always thought was gentle and adorable was now sitting on the couch, looking at me with clear amusement in his eyes. Awake? The moment I saw him, everything came rushing back. It was Leonard who knocked me out. That day, I'd waited in line for 2 hours to buy a freshly made meadowgrass cake, then nervously held it out to him. I'd asked politely, I brought this for you. Would you let me play with your? Before I could even finish the word ears, he knocked me out cold with a brick. In my blurry vision, I vaguely saw him crouch down beside me and pat my cheek. A weak little wolf like you wants to mess with me? Before I lost consciousness, I remember thinking, what kind of sweet little bunny carries a brick around? And now I've woken up chained and locked in a cage. He even stuffed something in my mouth. I tried to ask why he tied me up, but I couldn't speak. All I could manage were muffled whimpers. He let out a soft chuckle, then stood up and walked over to me. He tilted my chin up and removed the thing from my mouth. I immediately snapped at him. I brought you a meadowgrass cake, and this is how you thank me. He didn't answer. Instead, he threw a question back at me. You've been secretly following me for a whole month, Senior. You wanted to play with me? Hearing his words, I felt a little guilty. I did want to play with him, with his ears, to be exact. Even though I'm a predator species, I have a serious weakness for anything fluffy, especially soft, white herbivores. Their plush ears, twitching with every little movement, always drive me to the edge of distraction. But at our school, predators and herbivores take separate classes. And with my fierce appearance, no herbivore ever wanted to be friends with me. Leonard was a white lop-eared bunny, a junior. I had my eye on him since the first day of school. He was just too good-looking. Always wearing a gentle smile, tall, slender, and fair-skinned, basically the prince of the rabbit class. I followed him for a month, just to get close. Eventually, I figured out he loved the meadowgrass cake from that bakery by the school gate. So, to win him over, I woke up early and queued up, endured 2 grueling hours under the curious, suspicious eyes of a whole line of bunnies. Finally got the cake. I waited at the alley near campus, holding that little cake box. But before I could even finish my sentence, bam! He knocked me out. Quiet now? Feeling guilty? Leonard's cold voice snapped me back to the present. Figures. Predators really are all the same. I shook out of my thoughts, just about to explain. Then he reached out and touched one of my fangs. You think having sharp teeth gives you the right to scare every herbivore around? What? That's nonsense. I just look scary. I've never used my fangs to scare. I tried to defend myself, but the moment his fingers brushed against my fang again, my whole body went weak. A muffled sound escaped from me before I could stop it. Leonard's expression froze for a moment. What kind of pathetic noise was that? I felt my face burn. My fangs were really sensitive. I never noticed it while eating, but when someone touches them, he ran his finger over it again, and another involuntary noise slipped out of me. I turned my head away in embarrassment. Stop touching them. But of course, Leonard seemed to be enjoying himself. Still playing with my fang, he leaned in with a wicked grin and gave a command. Make that sound again. It felt like he was training a dog. Damn it. I was so pissed I wanted to bite his fingers. But my whole body had gone limp from his touch. I couldn't muster any strength. Even my ears and tail popped out on their own, completely out of control. Leonard noticed, and his eyes darkened with interest. He reached for my ears and started playing with them. Just my luck, my ears were another sensitive spot. I tried to pull away, body instinctively retreating backwards. But he yanked me forward hard by the collar, jerking the chain with no mercy. My face slammed into the bars of the cage. It hurt. Leonard's low, husky voice followed. Didn't you say you wanted to play, Senior? Then why are you backing away? Then he reached out again. His hand clamped over my mouth before I could speak, and all I could do was shake my head. What the hell? Is this bunny some kind of freak? Forced to look up at him, my eyes began to water. I really didn't want to play anymore. Leonard stared down at me, breathing heavier, clearly excited. Even his bunny ears had popped out. I found myself staring at them, long, soft, swaying with his every move. He caught my gaze and let out a low chuckle. You really want to play with me that badly? Those soft, snowy ears twitched again with every movement, taunting me. I nodded quickly, breathing hard. I wanted to touch them. If he just let me play with his ears, I'd let the whole tying me up thing slide. Swallowing hard, I said, if you let me touch them, I'll forget you ever tied me up. He crouched down, and his droopy ears brushed against my cheek. Damn, they were so soft, fuzzy, and warm. But the words that came out of Leonard's mouth weren't nearly as soft. Senior, you really don't seem to get the situation. You're the one begging me. You're in no position to bargain. I frowned, confused. He tied me up, locked me in a cage, played with my fangs and ears. And I'm the one in no position to ask for a little ear touching? Was that too much to ask? I was about to speak when he interrupted again. I normally hate creepy predators who like to follow people around, but my rut's coming soon, so I'll play with you for a bit. What was he saying? Before I could even react, he forcefully pried my mouth open. Leonard pulled something out, I didn't see what, and shoved it into my mouth. His fingers pushed it deep, nearly hitting the back of my throat. Reflexively, I swallowed, and the moment I did, I knew something was wrong. What did you just make me eat? Leonard chuckled softly, withdrawing his fingers and brushing them against my ear. You'll find out soon enough, Senior. The smile on his face sent a chill down my spine. I had a very bad feeling about this. Seconds later, I felt heat flooding through my entire body. My whole wolf form was burning up, hot, weak, and melting into a puddle inside the cage. Leonard unlocked the door and calmly started untying the ropes. To stop me from escaping, he tugged me back by the collar and laughed under his breath. That strange feeling? That's exactly what I was waiting for. As he spoke, he pinched my ear, hard, with his fingers. Every pinch sent another wave of heat through me, making my ears even hotter. Leonard leaned in close, the soft, droopy ears on his head brushing against my face. His deep, husky voice whispered right into my ear. Senior, we rabbits. I couldn't even hear the rest of what he said. My eyes were locked on those floppy bunny ears. I couldn't look away. With the last shred of sanity I had left, I reached out and touched them, soft, fuzzy. They felt 10,000 times better than I imagined. Hey, I finally got to touch your ears. Leonard froze. He stared at me with a complicated look. Wait, when you said you wanted to play, you meant with my ears? I nodded, but I was already spiraling. Whatever he gave me was kicking in, dragging me into my own heat cycle. I didn't even get to say another word before everything went black, like someone had knocked me out with a brick. Damn. Freaking droopy-eared rabbit. When I woke up, I found myself back in the dorm. Danny was taking care of me. According to his roommate, Leonard was the one who brought me back that night. They said I got drunk, fell, and hit my head. And Leonard, being the kind soul he is, picked me up and brought me back. Leonard may be a rabbit, but he's surprisingly strong, and he's really good-looking. When he smiled at me, I swear my heart skipped a beat. He's tall too, taller than me, and he's a rabbit. I sat there listening to the roommate gush over him with a deadpan expression. That twisted rabbit really knows how to put on an act. Thinking about what he did to me, I slammed my fist hard against the side of the bed. Danny jumped in shock. He cautiously leaned in. Gerald, what's wrong? Did you hit your head too hard or something? I shoved his oversized face away. You're the one who's brain damaged. Even by nightfall, the ache in the back of my head hadn't gone away. My whole body still felt off. I checked myself in the mirror, but nothing looked out of place. Still, I decided to lump everything, every bit of it, onto that damn droopy-eared rabbit. Some rabbits look all sweet and innocent on the outside, but behind the scenes, they're just thinking about how I, a wolf, got toyed with until I went weak all over. It made my teeth grind in fury. Utter humiliation. I went to the entrance of the herbivore campus to wait for Leonard, but to my surprise, he was already cornered in an alley by a group of beast-type students. Leading them was a leopard, one notorious for bullying herbivores. He was chewing on a cigarette, staring down at Leonard. Hand over the photos. Leonard still had that innocent, harmless smile on his face. What photos? I have no idea what you're talking about. The leopard slowly pulled the cigarette from his mouth, the burning tip inching dangerously close to Leonard's face. Cut the act. I only let my guard down because you looked cute. Ended up getting knocked out, tied up, and photographed. You think those pictures will stop me from touching you? Now be a good boy and give them to me, or I'll press this cigarette into your face." Leonard's pretty smile vanished, replaced by a mocking smirk. "If you're okay with a video of yourself crying on your knees while being smacked around by a bunny going viral on every campus forum tomorrow, then be my guest." "You." The leopard gritted his teeth and angrily stubbed the cigarette out on the wall. "Just you wait." With that, he stormed off with his crew. I had been hiding nearby, listening in, and I was stunned. Looks like I wasn't his first victim. Leonard, a droopy-eared rabbit, even dared to tie up a leopard and play with him? Once they were gone, Leonard suddenly looked up in my direction, an amused glint in his eyes. "Was that entertaining to watch, Senior?" I froze. When did he notice me? He walked over with an expression of innocent curiosity. "Did you come looking for those photos too?" I eyed him warily. "What photos?" Leonard opened his phone gallery and held it up for me to see. What appeared on screen made my blood run cold. It was me, wearing only shorts, kneeling, tied up. My heart skipped a beat, and a chill ran through my whole body. I grabbed his arm, tightening my grip just a little. "That's enough. Delete the photos, or don't blame me for getting rough." "Senior, are you threatening a weak, defenseless bunny?" His voice trembled with mock hurt, and his eyes even started to glisten like he was about to cry. I licked my sharp canine teeth, completely unfazed. "What an act! Keep pretending. Are you saying you weren't the one who knocked me out with a brick and dragged me home?" "That was an accident, Senior. I misunderstood. I thought you were trying to do something to me, so I panicked and hit you. I only realized afterward that you just wanted to touch my ears." He licked his lips and gave me that innocent smile again. "Senior, you're different from those crude beast types. You're strong and righteous. Could you protect me? As you can see, I keep getting harassed by those brutes." He lowered his head, then looked up again with a conflicted expression. "Otherwise, I might have to post those photos of you on the school forum. A big bad wolf like you, caught enjoying being tied up." I quickly clamped a hand over his mouth before he could say anything even more insane, glaring at him. "Are you seriously blackmailing me right now? After doing that to me, now he wants me to be his free bodyguard?" Leonard must be dreaming. I let go and flashed my sharp beast-type fangs at him, threatening on purpose. "You really think I won't treat you like those other wild predators do?" But he didn't flinch. Instead, he calmly reached out and touched one of my sharp teeth. That strange, familiar sensation shot through me. I grunted under my breath. I had to fight the instinct to bite down. Leonard slowly pulled his hand back. "Senior would never bite me. You're not like them." Then he leaned closer, his voice low and tempting. "If you agree to be my bodyguard, I'll let you play with my ears. You like that, don't you?" As he said it, his soft white ears popped out again, brushing lightly against my face. And damn it, it tickled. Not just my skin, but deep inside. Before I could even agree, my hand moved on its own. Those fluffy white ears were right under my palm, twitching slightly as I touched them. And then he looked at me with those wide, innocent eyes. Damn. He was too cute. The moment I felt all that soft fluff, my brain short-circuited. My breathing turned ragged. Deal. With a satisfied smile, he held up his phone and, right in front of me, deleted every single one of my photos. On the way back to the dorm, something felt off. I had gone to confront Leonard and settle the score. So how the hell did I end up as his bodyguard? And seriously, does that twisted little rabbit even need a bodyguard? But hey, we wolves have a code. Loyalty matters. I touched his ears, so now I guess I'm obligated to help him out. Besides, Leonard is the first herbivore I've ever met who didn't flinch or panic around me. That alone was oddly refreshing. Whenever I didn't have class, I found myself following him around. Not too close, not too far, just enough that I could always spot him with a glance. Leonard was surprisingly popular, yet he often moved alone. Whenever he dealt with other herbivores, he always wore that sweet, innocent smile. Gentle, obedient, like a well-trained pet. But something about it felt wrong. Every now and then, he'd ask me to eat with him. Once, he held out a grassy-smelling snack. "Want to try this, Senior?" I frowned. That thing couldn't possibly taste good. But when he tilted his head and smiled at me with that hopeful look, I opened my mouth and let him pop it in. I chewed. Yup, bland as dirt. Still, he looked at me with those sparkly eyes, full of expectation, like I'd just eaten a gourmet dish. For no damn reason, my heart skipped a beat. So cute. I quickly turned my head away, trying to play it cool. It's all right, I guess. That face of his was dangerous. Way too distracting. Lately, even Danny had started questioning me. Gerald, what's with you lately? You've been sneaking off all the time. Don't tell me you're in love, I stammered. No, I just picked up a side job. My roommates perked up. Oh yeah? What kind of job? Pays well? Pay? Does touching bunny ears count? I muttered. Yeah, it pays a lot. Just thinking about Leonard's soft, fluffy ears made my throat tighten. Then the weekend rolled around, and Leonard messaged me. Senior, come over. I'll let you touch my ears. I replied instantly. On my way. I dashed over like my life depended on it. Leonard opened the door for me. Once inside, he settled onto the couch. His fluffy white ears drooped sweetly on either side of his head. He tilted his head and smiled at me, a glimmer of mischief in his eyes. Senior, want to play with my ears? I tried hard to steady my breathing, keeping my excitement in check. Carefully, I reached out and touched them, those soft, velvety ears, and let out a satisfied sigh. No matter how many times I touched them, the feeling was addictive. For a whole hour, I was allowed to indulge. During that time, Leonard even let me nuzzle his ears with my nose and my mouth. But just as I was getting into it, he gently pushed me away. His eyes were slightly watery and his voice came out low and raspy. Senior, that's enough. Any more and they'll go bald. With that, Leonard got up and headed to the bathroom. I stared at his ears as they swayed with his movements, a bit disappointed. A whole week of work, and I only got 1 hour of ear time? What a ripoff. After waiting a while and realizing he still wasn't out, I started wandering around his place out of boredom. When I reached his study, I spotted something familiar. A cage. Unpleasant memories surfaced. I remembered being tied up and forced to kneel inside that very cage. And then I recalled that day the leopard had asked Leonard for photos. Could it be this is how he treats every beast who dares to get too close? Did he play with all of them the same way he played with me? That leopard, and the group behind him. How many has Leonard toyed with? I stared at the cage, imagining other beasts locked inside, bound, while Leonard played with their ears, their fangs, their tails. Something about the thought made me feel deeply uncomfortable. Senior? Leonard's voice came from behind. I flinched a little and turned around. He was leaning against the doorframe, wearing a bathrobe that clung to his well-toned body. His damp ears drooped on either side of his head. He tilted his head and gave me a lazy smile. You haven't left yet? For some reason, my beast instincts picked up on something. An odd whiff of danger. Probably just my imagination. I mean, I'm a wolf. What threat could a little bunny pose? I was just about to go, but as I passed by, he grabbed my arm. Or, how about you stay? Leonard's voice dropped into a whisper, rich with temptation. Senior, do you want to sleep with me in my original form? His words stopped me in my tracks. In my mind, I was already picturing it. Leonard as a soft, snowy white, lop-eared bunny, curled up in my arms. My throat tightened. Yeah, I want to. I hadn't planned to stay the night, so I didn't bring anything with me. Leonard handed me a set of his pajamas and shorts. They're brand new. After showering, I changed into them. Surprisingly for a rabbit, Leonard's clothes were actually pretty roomy. When I stepped out of the bathroom, I saw him already on the bed, curled up in his original form, a white lop-eared bunny. His fur was pure white, not a single flaw in sight. Those long ears draped softly down his sides, resting neatly against his body. I held my breath as I turned off the light and climbed into bed. That small, soft body instinctively snuggled closer to me, like it was seeking warmth. My fingers itched. I couldn't resist. I reached out and gently stroked him. He didn't stir. I buried my face into his fur and took a deep inhale. God, this was heaven. Just as I was getting completely lost in the sensation, I looked up, only to meet the rabbit's deep black eyes. A second later, the bunny transformed, and the fluffy chest I'd been nuzzling turned into solid muscle. Panic hit me and I tried to pull away, but a large hand pressed down firmly on my back, keeping me there. Leonard's amused voice rumbled just above me. Senior, my turn now. Just a moment ago, Leonard tilted his head, giving me that innocent smile. Senior, you've been sniffing and cuddling this bunny for so long. Can't you turn into a wolf now and let me have a turn? You said you were obsessed with fluffy things, right? Well, I've got a thing for wolves. Just let me touch you a little. I won't do anything else, I promise. He said it in that soft, coaxing voice, while rubbing his ears against me like some helpless little thing. Under all that wheedling, I eventually gave in. But now I'm wondering, why the hell is he so fixated on the base of my tail? Damn it. Has no wolf ever told him that you don't touch that area? I clutched the bedsheets tightly, biting down on the corner of the pillowcase. Still, I couldn't stop that helpless rumble escaping my throat. Then suddenly, he gave the base of my tail a firm squeeze. What the? Enough was enough. My instincts as a wolf kicked in. I turned my head and snapped toward him without thinking. But just as my fangs grazed his skin, logic stopped me in my tracks. In the dark, Leonard seemed startled. His body trembled slightly. I couldn't see his face clearly. Was he scared? Rabbits do have a natural fear of predators. I didn't want him to be afraid of me. So I let go, licked his arm lightly, then turned my head back around, my voice muffled and low. Stop grabbing it. I might lose control. Okay. Leonard responded in a husky whisper, but there was no fear in his tone. If anything, he sounded excited. And don't rub it so damn hard either. I felt his hand slide from the base of my tail all the way to the tip, then back again against the grain. He kept repeating it like he was addicted. I wanted to bite him all over again, but just as I bared my teeth, I heard his soft, pleading voice. Sorry, your fur is just too smooth. I'll be gentler, I swear. Please let me keep touching you. Could Leonard really have a thing for wolves? As a lop-eared rabbit, he probably wasn't going to find another wolf willing to let him do all this. Whatever, let him have his fun. We wolves value fairness, after all. I got to enjoy his fluff. It's only right I let him enjoy mine in return. Suppressing the heat in my chest, I bit down on the pillow again. Just be gentle. Leonard really did start petting me more gently, his hand stroking along the grain of my fur down my back. It felt unbelievably good. A soft rumble vibrated from my throat, and before I knew it, I was leaning into his hand, my whole wolf body reacting instinctively. I don't even remember when I fell asleep, or when I turned back into my human form. But sometime after, I felt something soft press lightly against the corner of my mouth. Good night. After that night, I guess you could say Leonard and I had developed a mutual grooming bond. I stopped following him from a distance. Now and then, we even walked shoulder to shoulder. Leonard became my first real herbivore friend. That is, until the day after class when I got cornered in an empty restroom by that leopard who had bullied Leonard before. They blocked the exit. What do you want? The leopard gave me a pointed look. Gerald, we've noticed you've been getting pretty close to Leonard lately. We just want to talk. I bared my fangs warily. Talk about what? You've been tricked, he said. Don't be fooled by that cute face. Leonard's actually a violent rabbit. He likes tying up predators, playing with them, and then filming it to blackmail them later. He jerked a thumb at the other predators behind him. See? These are all past victims. Hasn't he tied you up yet? I frowned, my instincts kicking in to defend Leonard. Don't slander him. You were the ones who started messing with him. The leopard gave me a complicated look. That day you bumped into us? Leonard sent us over there. We wouldn't have dared go near him otherwise. Gerald, if you don't want to end up in one of his videos too, you'd better stay away from him. Check out his computer in the study if you don't believe us. What? I wanted to ask more, but by then, they were already gone. By the weekend, I went to Leonard's place again. While he was playing with my tail, I couldn't hold back and asked, testing the waters, "Do you hate predator types?" His hand paused for a moment on my tail. Then he flashed that innocent smile of his, complete with two perfect dimples. Of course not. I like you the most, Gerald. At first glance, his expression looked gentle. But the more I looked at him, the more I felt something was off. Subtly, eerily off. As he finished speaking, he started tracing slow circles at the base of my tail again. It was getting too much. I seriously began to suspect he had secretly studied how to pet a wolf. Because how else could he make it feel this good? Suddenly, my whole wolf body trembled, and I went limp, teeth clenched. What are you doing?" I growled. He didn't reply. His floppy ears brushed against my face, soft and warm. Realizing what he'd done, embarrassment flooded me. I tried to push him away, but he didn't budge. When did Leonard get this strong? "Good friends help each other like this," he murmured seductively. Gerald, I can't take it anymore. You're just too cute. I felt a kiss land behind my ear. Then Leonard laughed softly, stood up, and walked away. I pulled myself together and went into his study once more. There was a computer on the desk. It was still on, its screen glowing faintly. Remembering what the leopard said, I couldn't suppress my curiosity any longer. I swallowed hard and sat down in front of it. When I opened the only folder on the computer, what I saw made my heart drop. Videos and photos of leopards, tigers. Almost every predator type who had confronted me that day had been filmed. They were bound, forced to kneel on the ground, their faces bruised with blue and purple marks. Whip marks streaked across their bodies. Leonard stood over them, one foot pressing down on their heads, whip in hand, the muscles in his arms tense and defined. "You think you can mess with me just because you're stronger?" he sneered. "Predators. None of you are any good." His face, God, I'd never seen him look like that. Disgust, malice, cruelty. A chill ran down my spine. I glanced at the other folders. My eyes stopped on one labeled Cute Wolf Sr. I hesitated, then clicked it. What popped up were photos and videos of me. My mind went completely blank. Leonard lied. He never deleted my photos. In fact, the ones on this computer were far more intense, more obsessive than the ones he'd shown me. Unlike the others, I didn't have bruises or signs of abuse in the videos. But now, I finally understood where those mysterious marks on my body had come from that night. In the footage, Leonard's eyes shimmered with a crazed light as he whispered things into my ear. I couldn't keep watching. Leonard was a full-on psycho. Now I knew why there was always something off about his sweet, harmless smile. He wasn't some gentle, innocent bunny. That day, he'd claimed he was always bullied by predator types. But when I'd acted as his bodyguard, I never once saw any predator dare to come near him. I immediately deleted the folder and emptied the recycle bin. Shutting the laptop, I just wanted to get out of there. But the moment I turned around, I saw Leonard standing in the doorway, wearing a bathrobe, leaning casually against the frame. Who knows how long he'd been there? He tilted his head and gave me that strange, sweet smile. "Gerald, where are you going? Aren't you staying over tonight to cuddle your bunny?" That smile sent a chill down my spine. I quickly shook my head. "No, I just remembered. I have something to do." Leonard's smile dimmed slightly. As I passed him, he flashed that harmless, innocent smile again. His bunny ears even popped up. He grabbed my wrist. "Gerald, a bunny's tail is really soft too. Are you sure you don't want to touch it?" I wanted to leave, but my body didn't move. My eyes, almost involuntarily, were drawn to that tiny tuft of white fluff. It twitched, right in front of me. By the time I came to my senses, my hand was already reaching out, landing softly on it. He's just a bunny. I'm a wolf. If it really comes down to a game, who plays who is still up in the air. So I stayed again. Later that night, just before bed, I hesitated but finally asked, "Why do you hate predator types so much?" Leonard didn't answer directly. He was busy playing with my tail, speaking in a soft, casual tone. "You saw the stuff on my computer, right? Do you hate me now? Think I'm a freak? Are you scared and trying to run away?" He looked up, wearing that innocent smile again. "Gerald, I'm not a normal rabbit. When I was little and predator types bullied me, the other bunnies just cried. But me? I wanted to hit back. What I love the most is making those arrogant, domineering predators cry and beg in front of me." His voice stayed calm, like he was talking about the weather. "But rabbits are expected to be gentle, aren't they? When we fight back, we're called crazy. But when predator types fight, it's called bravery. Why is that?" I was speechless. I had no idea what to say. As a predator type, I'd never experienced that. I was born with sharp fangs, strong claws, and a powerful body. Born to fight. No one ever saw me as gentle, only as fierce, dangerous, and hard to deal with. "Gerald," Leonard said, curling up into my chest. "It's those predators' fault. They deserved what happened to them. But if you like sweet little bunnies, I can keep playing that role just for you." He took my hand and gently placed it on his ear, smiling with that same pure expression. "Gerald, could you accept a bunny like me?" I didn't say a word. By the next morning, I ran. It wasn't a question of whether I could accept him. I was just afraid he'd break me. But every time I saw him, whenever Leonard flashed that smile with those fluffy ears, I'd get pulled in all over again, completely under his spell. I couldn't help it, so I decided to just avoid him altogether. And strangely, Leonard didn't reach out to me either. No messages. Nothing. Then my roommate Danny came over and asked, "Gerald, is your part-time job over?" I nodded. He followed up, "You've been totally out of it lately. What's going on with you?" I blinked, a little thrown off. "Have I?" He slung an arm over my shoulder. "You've been zoning out a lot. We're going to a mixer tonight. Herbivores and predators both. Since your part-time gig's done, come with us. Might help clear your head." There'd be herbivores there, which meant I might see him. That thought alone startled me. When we arrived, it was my first time at this kind of event. And honestly, I felt out of place. As expected, my naturally fierce face scared all the herbivores away. Not a single one dared approach me. Meanwhile, even someone like Danny, a fellow predator, was surrounded by a crowd of adorable little animals. They curiously touched his ears, tugged at his striped tail. "Wow, you're so soft, like a giant kitty." Danny just gave them a goofy, happy smile. Every now and then, he'd put on a performance, let out a playful tiger roar, or hook a tail around a herbivore's waist to tease them. He was having the time of his life. Meanwhile, I sat alone on the couch, sulking with a drink in my hand. A strange thought crept into my mind. If only Leonard were here. Out of all the herbivores, he was the only one who wasn't scared of me. No, he wasn't just unafraid. He had the guts to knock me out and drag me home like I was a toy. I thought about the way he tried to please me, acting all sweet just to let me touch his ears. The corner of my lips twitched upward, that twisted little rabbit. Right then, I caught the faint scent of fresh grass in the air. I jerked my head up. It was just a sheep. A wave of disappointment passed through me, probably just passing by. Afraid I might scare him, I sank deeper into the couch and lowered my head, continuing to sip my drink. Suddenly, I felt someone sit down next to me. "Hi, Senior. I don't think we've met before." I turned my head. He had a warm, friendly smile. Nothing like Leonard, this smile didn't feel off in any way. I replied politely, "Hi, it's my first time attending something like this." And just like that, the conversation died. Honestly, I had no idea what to say. Talk about fitness, lifting weights, hunting techniques? He probably wouldn't be interested. Might even find it scary. How did I used to talk to Leonard anyway? It was usually him doing the talking, me doing the listening. He worked out too, lifted heavier than I did. A rabbit with muscles bigger than mine. Always smiling sweetly, but in truth, a total weirdo. I snapped out of my thoughts and glanced at the sheep out of the corner of my eye. He was still sitting next to me. He seemed uneasy. Forget it. I sighed silently and set my glass down on the table. I was about to say a quick goodbye and leave, to end this awkward moment. But the sheep, seeing me move, suddenly stood up in a panic. His glass dropped to the floor. He looked at me, with a terrified expression. I froze. I hadn't even finished saying "don't be scared" before he bolted. Ran straight to the herbivore's side. I could vaguely hear him whispering to his friend, "That guy's terrifying. With a face like that, how is he even allowed in a mixer with herbivores?" If I hadn't lost a game of truth or dare, I'd never have talked to him. When he moved, I thought he was going to eat me. I lowered my head and stared at my drink, my face expressionless. I thought I was used to this by now, being feared by every herbivore because of how I looked. Even though I've never done anything wrong, I've always been labeled as aggressive and dangerous. When I was a kid, even if I stood up for someone, I'd still get scolded just for making a herbivore cry. I licked my sharp canines, annoyance and alcohol rushing to my head. I messaged Leonard, "Where are you?" The moment I sent it, I felt pathetic. When he was all eager, acting cute and trying to please me, I ran away. Now that he's stopped chasing me, I suddenly want to cling to him. But still, so what if he's a weirdo? Among all the herbivores, he was the only one who never flinched in front of me. He even wanted to play with me. His reply came quickly. "It's my special period. I'm at home. But Senior, I'd recommend you don't come over. I can't promise I won't do something to you. Even though I really miss you." I was going anyway. Along the way, the wind blew away most of the alcohol, but my mind stayed clear, guiding my body straight to Leonard's place. I had a spare key. The door opened easily. The apartment was filled with the scent of fresh grass. My face grew warm. Following the strongest trail, I ended up in the study. There he was, Leonard, curled up inside his cage. His face was flushed, eyes watery. When he saw me, he tilted his head and gave me that signature innocent smile of his. A low, hoarse voice came from him. "Senior, Would you like to pet my ears? The words sounded like a simple invitation, but the hunger in his eyes and the way his hands moved were anything but innocent. As soon as he saw me, his movements grew even more intense. Pervert, I muttered, but my hand still reached out and cupped his ear. It had been a while since I'd touched them. His long, fluffy ears now sat obediently in my palm, and I began to gently stroke them with my thumb. Leonard trembled under my touch. "Senior, a little harder," he whispered, rubbing his head impatiently against my hand. I crouched down and kissed the soft ear in my palm. "Where's the key to the lock?" "In the desk drawer." "But, Senior, you'd better not let me out. You know, we rabbits have very strong needs." He looked at me through the bars, his eyes glistening with mischief. I scoffed and tugged on his ear. "Leonard, who's playing who here? It's still up in the air." With that, I stood up, grabbed the key, and unlocked the cage. Leonard's perspective. I was being targeted again. This time it was a wolf, fierce-looking, with an almost obsessive stare. That disgusting carnivore look. I tightened my grip on the brick in my bag. But he was wrong if he thought I was some docile, easy-to-bully rabbit. This wolf was different from the other carnivores. He had followed me for a month, yet all he ever wanted was to play with my ears. And I didn't want to let him go. How could a wolf be this adorable? Just a few touches and he'd look at me with his whole body flushed. He looked fierce, but his eyes were unbelievably soft. Was he really a carnivore? I messaged the leopard. "Go to that alley at this time every day and pretend to bully me. Improvise the rest." The reply came quickly. They couldn't refuse. I had photos of them being whipped and kneeling to beg me. I repeated the same scene every day, but he never showed up. At night, I'd return home and stare at the photos on my computer. On the third day, the wolf finally came. Senior loves to pet my ears. He also likes the smile I wear for him. For the first time, I didn't find this well-behaved facade so repulsive. Just a bit of sweet-talking, and he'd shift into his wolf form, just so I could pet him. So obedient. I sent the leopard my final instructions. Find Senior and lure him into looking at the computer in my study. Once he does, I'll delete your photos. They obeyed without hesitation. I was in the bathroom, nearly breathless with excitement. What would Senior think when he saw it? My wicked intentions toward him. Senior tried to run, but I gave a small smile and showed him my fluffy tail. That alone was enough to completely unravel his self-control. He couldn't resist. How could a wolf be this adorable? He was avoiding me, but I wasn't in any rush. When my fellow herbivores heard I was sick and couldn't attend the group meetup, they all sent messages of concern. In truth, I was just in a special phase. If I went out like that, I might lose control and scare Senior. So I locked myself in my room. Then, someone mentioned a very fierce wolf named Gerald in the group chat. I perked up and sent a message. "I'm a bit bored. Want to play an online adventure game with me?" We rolled dice. Whoever got the highest number would be the king. My dice only ever rolled 6. I won. "Go sit next to that wolf and say hi. Don't worry, he once saved me. He's not scary at all." Soon after, the group chat lit up with messages. "Too scary, I can't handle it." I smirked. A gentle wolf who loved fluffy things. Yet he had such a fierce appearance. Aside from me, who else would dare get close to him? A moment later, Senior messaged me directly. "Where are you?" I looked into Gerald's unfocused eyes, saw the tears pooling at the corners, and kissed him. "Senior, you were the only one who stayed by my side after seeing my true self. In return, I'll let you pet my bunny ears for the rest of our lives." Wolf's perspective after the lock was opened. By the time I was grabbed from behind and pinned to the headboard, it was already too late. He played with me for 3 whole days. "Damn it, who said rabbits were fast?" "You damn rabbit, stop pulling my tail."